Hello, everyone, and welcome to Atlantic Council Front Page, our premier platform for global leaders. I'm Fred Kemp. I'm President and CEO of the Atlantic Council, and I'm pleased today to moderate discussion with the Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama. It's a particularly good time to be talking to Prime Minister Rama, not just because of everything that's going on in his country, in the region, and the world, but also because tomorrow is Albania's Independence Day, and Prime Minister Rama is in Vlora, the site of the independence. I think it's the 111th anniversary, and he'll tell us a little bit about that, and perhaps also the portrait that you'll see over his shoulder. So thank you, Prime Minister Rama, for joining us, and I welcome everyone joining us virtually from around the world. I encourage you all to get involved with the conversation online on Twitter, also known as X, by using the hashtag ACFrontPage and hashtag Balkans Forward. You can follow the conversation at Atlantic Council, Prime Minister Rama is one of the most interesting people I know in not just European politics or global politics, a prominent figure in Albanian society long before assuming the role of Prime Minister. He's an artist, also a professor of painting, was a member of the national basketball team, author of several books, a mayor of Tirana. Prime Minister Rama's multifaceted background has equipped him with a unique understanding of the country's challenges and aspirations, also in their regional context, which we'll be talking about today. So it's great to have you on with us, and we hope to see you soon in Washington again as well. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Prime Minister Rama on a successful Berlin Process Summit held in Tirana in October. The summit showcased Albania's pivotal role in promoting cooperation and integration in the Western Balkans, and as German Chancellor Olaf Scholz called Albania as a front runner for EU membership. I also would be remiss not to congratulate you and your country's national team on qualifying early for the Euro 2024 football championships. We have a large number of fans at the Atlantic Council here in Washington, many of them rooting for your side. Turning to the wider region, the countries of the Western Balkans can look back on 2023 as a year of challenges, but also some new opportunities. Our Balkans Forward initiative at the Atlantic Council's Europe Center, as you know, Mr. Prime Minister, has been a leader looking at and focusing on both the hard work and diplomacy required to tackle long-standing disputes and problems, and also focusing on the energy, empowerment, and work to turn the immense promise and potential of the Western Balkans into peace, prosperity, and a Euro-Atlantic future in the region. So to start off, Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to have you reflect a bit on the role that you've taken on regionally, of course, but also in the international stage with assuming the presidency of the UN Security Council. At the same time that you're at the helm of the Berlin process, taking an active role of normalization between Serbia and Kosovo, and also working toward Albania's own path to eventual EU membership. Perhaps you can talk about all these plates that you've got in the air right now, all the various regional, global, and local challenges you're looking at, and how you're thinking of how they're interconnecting and what you hope to achieve.
Thank you, Fred, for having me. And yes, tomorrow is the 111th anniversary of our independence. And I believe that Albania has never been better. But also, I must say that the region has never been better. This being said, both Albania and the region needs a lot more to feel and to be definitely better, which means that we have challenges ahead. And at the same time, I am a strong believer of the fact that there is no way to think of being better in this region without thinking to make a better region. Because in this world that is so much interconnected, we have to learn and to work with the firm belief that what we need to do is both improve our countries and improve our region and improve the world. Otherwise, the one without the others does not really work. And yes, when I say the region has never been better, I mean compared to 10 years ago, let alone to 20 or 30 years ago, there is no comparison. But of course, we still have problems to solve. We still have a big elephant in the room, which is the not yet final peace and mutual recognition between Kosovo and Serbia. And as we have seen more than one time, this piece of politics, the hardest one so far in the region, has shown up to be really must. Otherwise, shortcomings and step backwards have occurred and will continue to occur. And in the broader context then, with Russian aggression in Ukraine, and lately with the war between Israel and Hamas, the implications further can be dire if we don't focus and if we don't work day and night to keep the conflict out of the borders of our region.
Thank you for that, Mr. Prime Minister. And let's talk about that elephant in the room a little bit more. And I think you're right to point out that when you have history has shown, when you have conflicts, a war in Europe, a war in the Middle East, that sometimes those conflicts can spread and violence can come out elsewhere. How do you view the progress behind the dialogue, Serbia-Kosovo, since the Banijska attack? And what is the realistic way forward for normalization from the current situation? What role do you want to play? What role should the US and EU be playing right now?
Let me say first that we are a region which has deep complexity, and among other complexities, we are a multi-religious region, and Albania is a multi-religious country where Muslims and Christians live in harmony, and so far this has been our fantastic asset as a base of a tolerant society. And that's why I believe that the war between Israel and Hamas is really very dangerous, because Hamas and others that support Hamas are true agents of chaos. And this chaos that they want to spread all over, and not just in the Middle East, can for sure affect also our region if we are not fully aware of it, and if we don't do all the necessary things in a proper way to keep the chaos and to prevent the conflict to involve all of us, like very much desired conflict of civilizations, as these destructive actors want to picture it. On the other hand, as I said, this situation that has improved a lot if we consider that only 10 years ago, or only until 10 years ago, we were not able to even speak to each other, has to deal and has to solve this Kosovo-Serbia issue with full recognition of Kosovo and practically with final peace. What happened in the very tragic event back some month ago was absolutely a very strong sign and a really alarming bell of the potential of this unsolved issue to become again a very, very determining issue in detriment of peace and of regional cooperation. And of course, in this case, it's very clear the responsibility of not only the people that were involved directly in this, in the criminal action, and that were supposed to exercise terror in northern Kosovo, but also Belgrade, which did not condemn, but on the contrary, dedicated National Mourning Day to these criminals. Anyway, we have to, again, not fall for confrontation, not fall for escalation, but double, triple the efforts to normalize and to make peace. And I must say that I'm encouraged by change in the approach and in the attitude of the Kosovo authorities, and by accepting in principle the association of the municipalities with Serbian majority. The Prime Minister of Kosovo and the government of Kosovo have shown an important will to move forward and to look for solutions and not for alibis or for the past instead of the future.
So I think this is such an important point, Mr. Prime Minister, and many of our viewers won't know much about this association of Serb municipalities. I think some of that is still confidential. But can you share with us how this proposal is different and why it makes you feel more encouraged than perhaps many others are at this moment?
Listen, I don't know exactly the full content of the new proposal. What I know is that I have tried myself to give a contribution in this direction, and I'm satisfied to hear that a lot of what is in the content of my proposal has been adopted in the new proposal of the EU. Some say that there are certain things that on the Kosovo side they would prefer to be as they were or as they are in the version I proposed, but this is something I can't comment further because I'm not aware of all the details. What I know for sure is that if the authorities of Kosovo will stick to what they have started with the agreement in principle expressed by Prime Minister Kurti in Brussels, this will be huge for the sake of Kosovo, huge for the sake of the region.
We can only hope that goes forward. It's long been U.S. policy and that the region's future is in Europe and in the European Union. The Atlantic Council has worked very hard in this direction as well. But the enlargement process for a long time seemed to lack momentum, and you were a major critic of the EU's approach to the process in your region. Russia's war in Ukraine seems to have changed some of these geopolitical dynamics. I wonder if you could tell us where you think the enlargement process is now. Is it also in a better place? You said the region's never been better. You say Albania's never been better. How about the enlargement process, particularly in the context of Chancellor Olaf Scholz's confidence expressed just last week in a briefing with reporters in Malaga, where he said that Albania, quote, will quite soon be a member of the EU.
Listen, also in this respect, I see major change comparing the attitude of the EU, the will of the EU, the proactiveness of the EU towards our region today with how it was until some years ago. And yes, I've been critic of the EU approach and attitude, and also of in a certain way of EU's passive let's say attitude and approach. But this has changed, and it has been a common, let's say, understanding finally, pushed by no doubt from the Russian aggression towards Ukraine, that have somehow proven right all what I was saying until some years ago, and also others were saying. So the idea of the region as a very important geopolitical asset for the EU has practically materialized in the reality of facts. And now we are in a different place, but this does not mean that the EU integration and full membership of Albania or the others will be something that will come very fast. It will take time.
Can you speak to what may happen next for Albania? Some are thinking that the first negotiation chapters could even begin to happen this year. What's your outlook for that timetable?
I'm not very let's say obsessed about these technicalities. We have started our accession talks. Negotiations are ongoing. We have done very well, as also the progress report this year has underlined, page by page by page, and this is the most important. Then what will be the technicalities of it, I'm not gonna put much effort and energy to even understand, because it's a complicated process, it's a complex process, and it is how it should be. The important part of it for us is that we do the right things. And then, as we know, between the right things and the approval for whatever else, there are 27 member states, and they are all together in the big principles, but they are not always all together when it comes to take the decisions. So let's be zen about it.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. So we've got two non-resident senior fellows on the line with us, and you probably know both very well, Maja Picevic and Ilva Tada. I'd like to turn to Maya. She's a non-resident senior fellow at the Europe Center, and has been one of the most important advocates for the Western Balkans for many years already. Maya, let me turn to your question first.
Yes, I know them. Yes. Maya, I know well. Ilva, I know very well, and I'm happy to see her in such a radiant presence here.
I'm even happier to see you, Prime Minister, as always, and thank you indeed for being with us today. I would like to raise an issue that I'm personally very passionate about, but I think you are as well, and that's regional integration of the Western Balkans. You've been a great believer in regional cooperation for many years, ever since it became a serious topic, first through the Open Balkan and now more through the Berlin process. But I would really like to ask you about how you see this particular moment, especially in the context of the announcement of Ursula von der Leyen at the Berlin summit in Tirana of the new growth plan, and actually a phased accession to the single market through the regional common regional market with rewards for reforms. How enthusiastic are you about this stage? How you see the next steps? And do you think we can trust the EU that it's really committed to deliver on this bold offer, as they call it?
Listen, I've never lost trust in EU, and I'll never do, because by no doubt, EU means what it says, even when does not meet the words it says. So the vision is there, the goals are there, and then the action depends on many other things. So the most important is to not lose trust on EU, because it's the most incredibly beautiful political project that the human mind has dared to not only imagine, but also to put in motion. So we have to never forget this, and then of course we have to try to make it better when it comes to the action. And as I said in the beginning, we are in a completely new phase of relations with the EU. Until some years ago, this would have been really too utopistic. Today is absolutely the reality of things, that the EU and our region are in deeper and deeper and deeper partnership, in deeper and deeper and deeper dialogue, and most importantly, in more and more and more mutual respect, which was not the case, frankly. And for this, of course, Open Balkan has helped a lot, as has helped for sure the push from the region to make the Berlin process more comprehensive. And I believe that these initiatives have been instrumental, and I also believe that they have to work in parallel. Although Open Balkan has fulfilled the mission of making everyone in the region, but also everyone outside the region, aware of the strategic and vital importance of the regional cooperation and of the ownership of the regional cooperation. And the Berlin process has somehow known a new revival, also thanks to the Open Balkans, I believe. But now we are in the phase of looking some new developments. to happen, like the new growth plan, and I hope this will bring new energy and will bring more reasons to never ever give up on the European Union.
So we may come back to the idea of the growth plan, which is quite exciting, but first let me turn to Ilva Tata. Again, we're delighted to have her as a non-resident senior fellow at the Europe Center. For those on camera who are not from Albania, she's household name in Albania and has won awards for her first-rate journalism in that country, and now working with us. So Ilva, let me turn to you.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Prime Minister Edi Rama, for talking to Atlantic Council, especially from Vlora, city I deeply miss. Prime Minister, I want to ask you about the memorandum you signed with the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, to establish 2 migrant centers, processing centers in Albania. The centers that will be funded, I'm giving some context for our viewers, by Italy and will be operating under Italian jurisdiction, will process yearly roughly 30,000 asylum seekers rescued by Italian vessels in the Mediterranean Sea. Now, Albania has distinguished itself on migration through its humanitarianism, for example, with Afghans. And you have stated that this agreement represents an act of solidarity and reaffirms Albania's commitment to the EU membership. My question is, how do you reconcile this agreement with the international and European legal framework that protects the right to asylum? And how do you address the critics of this agreement?
Just to set the record straight, it's one center, and it's another welcome terminal at the port where these people will be first registered while landing. Secondly, the 36,000 is a wishful thinking number based on the consideration that the process will be such an anti-Italian process and will work like a Swiss clock. So every month, 3,000 will be processed and will leave room for other 3,000. And so during the year, we'll go to 36,000. Will it be the case? I'm not sure. But anyhow, even if this will be the case, the point is that this center of welcoming the immigrants will have only 3,000 places. So it's a 3,000 people center. And it will be built 100% based on the criteria that the European Union has very clearly written about how these centers should look like and how they should operate. And in the same time, the agreement is 100% within the frame of the European Union and international law criteria about the matter. Now, the reason why all this fuss has happened is one and only. Albania is not member of EU, and that's why this has been considered with all the inappropriate names, from Guantanamo to Lager, from breach of the international law to all the rest. If this agreement would have happened between Italy and another EU country, nobody would have even lost a minute to look into it, and let alone speak about it and forget about taking so much time and so much space in the screens in front of people to talk about it. But I think this is sad because it shows a prejudice, nothing more, vis-a-vis our country and the countries of Europe that are not in the European Union. And while countries that are in the European Union are reluctant to show this kind of solidarity, we are not. So I simply look to all these comments and to all these critics with some, let's say, regrets, but it doesn't really matter.
Thank you for that, Mr. Prime Minister. I'm afraid we're running out of time, but let me just say a couple of things and then pass back to you for whatever closing comments you want to make, including perhaps introducing us to the gentleman over your left shoulder, and then as the viewers can see over your right shoulder is the EU flag and the Albanian flag. But you said in this conversation, Albania's situation has never been better, region never better, and if you look back 10 years, you see that. You've spoken of new hope in the Serbia-Kosovo process, including this approach through Serbian municipalities in Kosovo. You've spoken also to new hope in the EU enlargement process, helped by the wake-up call, tragic wake-up call of Putin's war in Ukraine, but also spoke to dangers, including the situation in the Middle East with Hamas as agents of chaos and the danger that chaos could spread. You're a person who's watched this situation for a long time in the region, and I think we're all encouraged by this note of optimism, but also with the dangers that you see on the horizon. I wonder if you could close by giving us a feeling of how you're balancing these two things, and what is the most important thing that you think is needed right now to make sure that we don't tilt back into a negative situation and push forward this positive trajectory?
The short answer is that I'm a tragic optimist, meaning we have a life, we know it will end, so this is tragic. But until it ends, we have to live it with full optimism and to try and leave a mark behind. So this is what I do, and this is what Albania is doing, with the difference that Albania will never ever die. And so thanks to people that will make a good work out of their life and contribution, Albania will become amazing, as God decided when it took so much time to design this country as a wonder. You know, in 28,000 kilometers squares, we have all. And we have beauties that are so much in such a small place that we should feel blessed, and we should do everything that this bless is the bless of generations to come. And I think same goes for the region. We have a wonderful region in terms of what God has decided to give to us. But for some reasons that we are running out of time now, this has not become the place that people deserve to have. So I see a lot more of positive things happening. And I'm sure that if we keep going in this way, we will make also the region a wonderful place to live. Of course, we are too small to change everything in the dynamics of the big world and the dynamics of wars that are decided by agents of chaos and by neo-imperialists. But I believe that we can learn a lot from what's happening around. and make our best that we as a region become more and more an example of how it can be different, how people can change the course of history and can get rid of the curse of history, working together and watching at each other as humans before looking to their ethnicity, to their religion, to their language, and so on and so further.
And can you, for our viewers, since I promised them, can you share with us the individual over your left-hand shoulder?
Oh, he is my grandfather.
Who is that?
My grandfather. You see the similarity, no?
I was going to remark on that.
He is the founding father of Albania, the man who raised the flag of independence here in this city, some 100 meters from where I'm speaking to you, in 1912. So in a way, he is all Albanians' grandfather.
Well, with that, I think we should close. So thank you to the tragic optimist Prime Minister Edi Rama. Thank you to Maya and Ilva, and to the Senior Director of the Europe Center, Jörn Fleck, who and his team who take forward this Balkans Forward initiative. We look forward to tracking the progress of the Western Balkans and Albania, and thank you so much for taking time with us on the day before your 111th anniversary of independence.
Thank you, Fred, and 2 big kisses, not for you, but for Maya and Ilva.
Thank you for them.